Hello, SPN family. I'm Steph with Creation, and welcome to our super celebration of virtual experiences featuring the cast of Supernatural. Just a reminder that the top tipper wins a 5-minute one-on-one video meet and greet with Sam right after this panel. So make sure your top supporter information is filled out with your current email address. To find that, under the stage at screen, you'll see where it says Top Supporter Rewards. Scroll to the green link that says complete your top supporter information, and that's where we're going to get your email address. If you'd like to tip, click the green tip button on the bottom left-hand corner of your stage's screen. Okay, next up is a woman who is not only a talented actress, she is also a beautiful soul, inspiring, and she's a warrior. Please welcome the one and only Samantha Smith.
Hi. Hi, everybody. I wish I could see your faces and hear you. That would be so great. I miss those days, and I'm excited to get back to them, hopefully sooner than later. But I hope you're all faring well this endless quasi-quarantine. I've had an interesting couple of months. They were not how I foresaw things going back in March, but here we are, and all is well. And I hope you are all well as well. So I guess you guys have some questions for me. Let's see. If I could have pitched an idea for an episode, what would it have been? That's from Kenisha. The first thing that comes to mind, and maybe they had something like this, but I think mermaids would have been cool. And this is why they don't let me pitch ideas, because it would have been boats and ocean and would have cost a fortune, and the boys would have been really mad at me, probably because, you know, it's always a struggle to work on the water. So this is why they didn't ask, probably. But I think mermaids would have been cool. And of course, they probably would have been, you know, scary. And maybe there was one. I don't know. And I'm sure you guys will let me know, but there's a little bit of a delay. So we'll see in a little bit your answers to that. Let's see. Let me scroll that up and see if you have any answers. I look and sound amazing. Thank you. I feel good. I've had excellent care, both from the medical community and from my husband and son at home. I'm very lucky. I consider myself very fortunate. Let's see. Can I tell you about my experience on Friends? Yes, it was just 1 week I was there. And it was as fun and funny as you would expect. I was in several seasons in, so they had sort of they had it all down pat. They knew what they were doing, and I can say that it was a little bit, first of all, it was surreal to be there, because you get there and they film most of it live, right? So you hear the song, the da 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 da, and then the people come running out and the audience goes crazy. But during the whole week, the way a half hour works is you rehearse all of the scenes over and over, and they rewrite things and make it funnier and try different things. And then if they have something that's, you know, outside or something that needs to be done concurrently or needs to be done in advance, they'll shoot it on Thursday. And then they'll show it on TV screens during when it needs to be during the show, because otherwise it's like a play. They do each scene 2 times. They maybe pick up a little bit. But during that whole rehearsal process, and then they film it, in front of a live audience on Friday night. So Monday through Thursday, and even during the day on Friday, you're rehearsing and practicing and going over it. And I got to watch. They were so genius. And the whole crew and the directors and everyone was so great. It was a lesson in how to do half-hour comedy. It was... And now having it was on Netflix, so everyone was watching it. In fact, even my son, he was watching it, and my episode came on. He's like, "Is that you?" Okay, completely unimpressed. But anyway, so it was great. Let's see. My favorite part about playing Mary was all the fighting. It was that was the fun part. The other parts were interesting, and, you know, playing the mom to those guys and everything was interesting and wonderful, but it was challenging. You know, having two grown giant children. But the fighting and the shooting and the driving and all that stuff was really fun. All of it. I loved every part of it. Honestly, it was a dream role. I wish it wasn't done. Let's see. My neighbor got a breast cancer diagnosis and treatment over the last few months. Also, what helped you the most through your recovery? Well, as I said, having support at home was huge, but I would say, honestly, giving myself permission to just take it as it comes. You know, if I'm tired, I take a nap. If I want to talk to someone, if I want to go, whatever I wanted to do, I indulged myself in the healthy, productive ways that I could achieve. So I tried not to spiral down into the disaster channel very often. This time was easier than the first time around 12 years ago, because there was so much unknown back then. I was pregnant, and so they couldn't do a lot of the tests. And so we had to wait to see my total diagnosis and all that. So that was harder. This time I knew everything pretty quickly. So just my advice would be, just if you're asking for advice, just to put yourself first. Take your care and your whatever you feel is okay. I would try to keep it in the productive side. But I think that in general, people ask too much of themselves. And when you are battling something scary and life-threatening, is not the time. So take it easy and be patient with yourself. And I hope that she's feeling better. Well, you said my name, breast cancer, so probably a woman. You're doing Mad Libs with the talent, going to finish in November. Can I have a noun? Peacocks. What am I doing to keep busy during quarantine? Well, I opted to have a few surgeries, and go to a lot of doctor's appointments. On the other hand, I have also, she finished with chemo 2 weeks ago. Was that from the same person? Yes. Well, I'm incredibly happy for her. She's on the way out of the tunnel. I have also been sewing a lot, and I have been refinishing, like doing some light refinishing of furniture. So I've painted 2 cabinets, and now I'm sort of eyeing like the wooden bread box and maybe the kitchen cabinets, which I think is one of those jobs that you start and then think it's going to be quick, and then 8 days in you want to murder somebody. So I'm taking my time deciding on that one. And cooking, and cooking some new things. Some have gone really well, and some have not. So at least we can order a takeout when it goes sideways. Do you have to train a lot for the fight scenes? You were a badass. Thank you. I did have to train. That's from Suzanne in Virginia. I did have to train. They sent me to, they sent a Krav Maga instructor to my house before season 12 started. And then, you know, they would give me choreography, and the stunt coordinator would try to teach me, and I started trying to do some lessons. I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner, but heading sort of mid-season 14, I started training. And then season 15, I really started going to a boxing instructor for private lessons. I don't know what took me so long, why I didn't think to do it right away. I think because I was just working so much and trying not to injure myself, which I still did. But they were very, very patient with me. the guys on set would help me as much as they could. Jensen would occasionally catch me holding the gun wrong or something, and he would help me out. Jared would help me when we were doing, vampire killing scenes or something together. But yeah, it was like drinking from a fire hose. I had a lot to learn in a short amount of time. And my stunt girls, Andrea and Dana, were both phenomenal. Thank God, because they really saved me. And I would say 90% of the badassery was them. Let's see. Jen Robinson, was I expecting to become such a big part of the show? Not at all. So I knew from the pilot that Kripke had told me that I might recur back and forth. And it was always a surprise whenever I would come back. But I only was on the show, I think, 7 or 8 times in the whole first 7 seasons. And then towards the middle of season 11, they called me, it's the middle, like around February, and asked if I wanted to be in the finale. I'm sure some of you have heard this, but so I thought they meant the show's finale. I thought it was over. And I was like, finally, the only way they're going to be able to bring me back is to bring me back to life, which they would never do until the show was over as like the finale. And I was literally like a week away from going to film it when I learned that it was actually just the season finale. And it took me like another several days after that to learn that I would be coming back for season 12. And they were like, yeah, no, you'll be back next season. I was like, am I going to be alive? What am I going to do? Why? So I was confused, but thrilled. And when I found out that Mary wasn't going to be like mom baking Mary, she was going to be fighter hunting Mary, I was so happy. It's sort of a dream role. I always wanted to play Lara Croft in Tomb Raider, which was never going to happen. So I feel like I got to do all of that and more. I didn't go spelunking or get any ancient artifacts. Well, actually, I did get ancient artifacts, didn't I? Just not out of a tomb. It was so unexpected and such a gift, and something I never imagined would happen. So glad it did. So now Kimmel100 is saying, do you have any desire to be a director or be in the industry in a role other than an actor? I actually don't. This is going to be a surprise because I'm innately bossy. I don't really have any interest in being a director. I don't understand it. As far as there's so much to know. It's not just getting the performance. You have to understand lenses and lighting and acting and how to put a story together. And it is incredibly complicated. What I think I would be good at and have started to investigate is being more from the producer side, because being bossy also works there. And I have so many ideas for things that I would like to see made that really aren't something I would be in. I'm not the right cast for it. Maybe in a peripheral supporting role or something like that, but I have 4 or 5 ideas that I'm kind of zhuzhing around right now, and I'm so excited to see them brought to fruition. But the only way for me to do that would be to be behind the scenes, which I think would be great. I think I would really like it. So we'll see. Favorite ice cream, Nerd Dreamer. See, a question I can answer definitively. I gave up dairy about a year ago, and ice cream I always liked it, but it hurt my stomach. And then I discovered this brand is called, I think it's called So Delish, and they make an ice cream out of cashew milk, and it has cashews and chunks of chocolate and caramel. And if I could swim in it and put it all over my body all day, I would. So check it out. It is ridiculous. And it's not like, oh, it tastes just like ice cream. It tastes just like ice cream, maybe better. Cashews are not rich, so they're really good. I highly recommend it. Was I able to take anything from the supernatural set? Little Ms. Maddie wants to know. And does it have sentimental value? You know, thank you. I would have made an awesome Lara Croft. Castiel stole my Soul 13. I was not allowed to take anything. And I didn't come back in the whole season 15. We thought I might, but then it didn't work out. And then they had talked about having me back for something, and then COVID happened. So I was not able to. But I don't know what I would have taken. I mean, my attachments are all in my heart to the characters and the people there, the entire cast and crew. So I don't know what I would have taken. There wasn't anything of Mary's that I was particularly attached to. There were a couple of things that decisions I drove, like the boots. They had sort of nice boots for me, and I was like, no, give me the scuffed up motorcycle boots. That's what I want. And so that's what she wore almost the whole time. And I loved those. I loved a couple of the cowboy shirts and stuff like that, but nothing like Jensen in the car, or I think Jared got a car too. I don't think they were gonna ever give me a car. They never even let me drive it. So no, I wish. I just missed the whole thing. And to think that it's all gone now. Like the sets are empty, the stages are gone. It's kind of crazy, because I've always just sat here in LA thinking about the fact that they're still there. They're going on doing their thing, and now they're not. It's weird. I know. Everyone, we all feel equally sad. Let's see. Elizabeth Thomas, how dreamy is Jeffrey Dean Morgan in real life? Your chemistry with him broke my heart. Oh, he's dreamy. He's so sweet. He is a lovely person, as delightful as you would expect. And he made everything so easy. There isn't an awkward bone in his body. He's accepting and open and supportive, and just so easy to be around and lovely. And you just like him instantly. I have to say, you know, I feel so incredibly fortunate to have worked with all of them. Everyone on the cast that I've ever worked with is just so giving and professional and kind and game. You know what I mean? Like, well, let's try this. Let's try this. What if it was this way? You try that. I'm going to do it this way. And it just was so, but efficient. Like, it didn't take all day. We made quick decisions and be like, yeah, do that. And from Jensen and Jared all the way down to everyone you worked with. And I don't think that, I mean, in my experience, that doesn't happen all the time. So all the love and chemistry that you saw on screen was real. We all really felt that attached to each other. I mean, which is why in the episode Lebanon, I think it was so real, that particularly that last scene when all four of us are standing there crying, like we were crying. We couldn't explain it, but we were all crying. Like we couldn't stop. They had to keep, I was the only one with mascara, of course, so they had to keep coming fixing that. But it was unusual and something that that I'll remember all my life, that all those people I got to work with. Let's see. What piece are you most proud of sewing? Okay, well, there's a couple. Fallen Identity. Would you like to see? This one is new. I'm wearing it. It's my my robe, sort of kimono-y, but not really. I love it so much. So it's this one. This color makes me feel peaceful. So I made it before my surgery so that I would have something soft to wear that made me happy. So that's it. It took me a really long time, especially when I decided it would be a good idea to line it. That's, 5 years I'll never get back. But anyway, so there. What was my first impression when you read the first script for the pilot? I was like, wait, I die on page 2? What? I don't think there was ever a time where I was like, I'm not going to go in on this. I just die. But I think I went in at like, whatever is one scene. 15 years later, that one scene sort of turned into a whole big thing. But I loved it. I think that it was a super cool, super creepy script, and there wasn't a lot of that then. And it was well written, and the characters were immediately distilled into who they were. You know, I thought it was super cool. You guys too. Castiel stole my soul. My favorite scene with Misha. The very last one I ever did. There was that last episode was called Absence. It was the last scene I filmed on the whole show. And it was a flashback scene after we had been hunting, and Mary hadn't known Castiel for very long. And it just was so, I don't know, it was just honest, and it was so sweet. And I got to finish the scene by basically saying how much he had always been there for the boys, and that they knew it and I knew it. And it was just such a moving end to my tenure on the show. And Misha's so delightful and so kind. It was just there was so much about it that just made it the perfect end for me, besides the fact that it was a great scene and I got to eat a candy bar in it. Nikita Romanoff asks, what have I learned about myself in quarantine? That I'm okay with being lazy, I think is sort of been a surprise. I do a lot of puttering around the house, even before all my surgeries and recovery. I knew I was a homebody, but I really kind of like being at home. That being said, I miss people desperately, because, you know, one of the greatest things about coming home is that you've been out, and then you get to come rest at home and be alone. But when you're, you know, it's the contrast that makes both great. So I do like to chill out, apparently. And also that I really miss exercising, which is surprising to me. I miss my Pilates class so much. But anyway, I can almost do Pilates again if it was open. After the surgeries, your arms get a little stiff, but I'm getting there. Almost. I'm like 90%. Let's see. BJ Christmas. Has your son watched the show yet? What does he think about it? He has not. He has seen a scene or two here and there. But he doesn't like scary things. But I feel like I FaceTimed him so often from the set, because I would be in Canada and he'd be here going to bed, and I'd FaceTime him and I'd be bloody and bruised and like sticks in my hair and dirty. And he's like, oh, you're doing a fight scene today? I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah, because I could see myself, but I wouldn't think about it. So he saw a lot of that over the few years I was up there. So he wasn't really thrown by it. But when you see the way they put the scenes together with the music and the monsters, I think it's not his thing yet. But he'll be able to binge it one day. I have them all on disc somewhere. Got a stack of them right there. So. I'm always amazed, you guys, when you come to conventions and you've got like your 6-year-old kids and you're younger and like, anyway, under 10 or 12. And they're like, I love this character. I love you. I love this. And I love when I'm always so astonished that they can handle it. It's impressive, because mine cannot. I can barely watch it. You know, I watch it like this, like the blood on the screen, and like, oh, it's hard for me. So yeah, maybe one day. Let's see. Is the pop in the background you? Yes, I put that there. Isn't she cute? I have a few of them. I have one is married with a knife, and this one just sits on my desk. I think that one's from Little Pop. I have to look. There were two different places I got them from, but Little Pop sent me a few. Thank you again for those. I love her. Let's see, what else? What is my favorite behind the scenes story? People always ask me that, like my favorite, like, was there a prank or, and I'm so, I think I'm just not a great storyteller, first of all, but I don't remember, first of all, they would never prank me because they wouldn't dare. Secondly, it's not any one specific thing. I mean, I have many little memories of just the love and kindness that happened during Lebanon again, when Jared tried to crunch down on the marble and it went and shot and hit Jeffrey, and we were literally all four of us crying, like not crying from being sad, now crying from laughing. Was just indicative of what it was like. It would frequently dissolve into uncontrollable laughter, and the director would be banging his head against the wall. Well, more the first AD would be like, we need to get going, and we're all just dying. I didn't have, I'm trying to think, there was a scene early on with Jared where Mary's in the room reading, and he brings in the journal, and it's sort of the first real connection that those two characters have. And it's hard for me to separate behind the scenes and a scene that actually happened, because to me, acting the scene is behind the scenes, if that makes sense. And there was a scene with Jensen where we were really mad at each other, screaming or yelling at each other as the characters, and we stayed mad at each other the whole time. And then after, we were both like, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry. And it just was nice to know, because when you're feeling it, when you're sad, when you're angry, when you're thinking, you really think that you're feeling it, and your body doesn't know the difference, you know. So it's nice to be able to let that go. So yeah, so I think sometimes, you know, like that scene with Jared, or I mean, I had a couple really great scenes with Kim Rhodes early on. And I feel like when you work really well with someone or have a really nice scene to do with someone, it brings you closer as people. You develop a level of trust. And I've known Kim Rhodes since way before either of us had been on the show. And working together and we'd always been close, but being able to work together and act scenes together brought like another whole facet to the relationship. It was really cool. What shows have I wanted to be a part of from Aurora 12? I really wanted to be on the 100, and you apparently can't be on 2 CW shows at one time. I didn't know that at the time. I really, really, really wanted to be on Game of Thrones, which I'm not British, and so that I never even auditioned. Like, let's be honest, they could have anyone they wanted on that show. But you know, sometimes, like, there are shows that I love, like I'm obsessed with Lovecraft right now, but I don't necessarily want to be on it. I love being an audience member who loves watching this show. And I love everything about it just as it is. And I am super content and so happy to just be an observer. And that happens a lot. What else do we love? We're watching this crazy new show called Holy Love Bird with Ethan Hawke. I forget what it's called. One of you guys will know. Something bird. It's about the pre-Civil War. It's amazing. And I would love to be on that. That would be great. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to differentiate between ones you really want to be on and ones you just want to watch. Let's see. I have, my sense of humor to have the fire extinguisher on my charm. I was talking with Michelle at Stan's, and we were trying to decide what we wanted my charm to be. And I was like, it could be a nightgown. It could be, you know, a flame, a phoenix, all these things. And I just was like, well, and I was joking. And I said, well, maybe it should be a fire extinguisher. And we both started laughing so hard that we had to make it a fire extinguisher. And what I found interesting is it took a long time, and people finally, like 3 weeks later, were like, oh, I get it. Like, yeah, because there's so much fire. But yeah, it made me laugh. It still makes me laugh. Do you have any upcoming projects we can look forward to? Not really. I haven't been auditioning since quarantine, and then I haven't been able to, even though stuff has been starting to come back into production. But I did just sign a new agent, and my manager and my manager are starting to make a plan. So hopefully soon I can start meeting on some things, because I'm excited to get back to work. My favorite book and author. You know, that's from Castile Stole My Soul. Oh, I think I saw you before. So can you ask the audience to give us an occupation, plural? I don't know what that means. That might be a Mad Libs thing, an occupation, plural. And will I be at New Jersey Con if they have it in April? Sure. I would love to. Favorite book author, A Prayer for Owen Meany by John Irving. I love everything about it. It's a perfect novel. I also really, really liked what was the series called? The Passage, about vampires. It's 3 books. They're really big, and the writing is really small, and you will not regret it. It's nothing like the series that was on TV. Some of the characters are the same, but the books are beyond. But A Prayer for Owen Meany is very different. It's John Irving's a wonderful author. He has a beautiful voice, and it's cosmic and deep. And the character of Owen Meany is one of the greatest characters I feel in literature. I love him. So go read it. That's all your homework assignment. And get back to me. Is there a special activity or dream you want to realize in the future? That is from Lisa Marie Semler. I have so many, and they kind of rotate. I have this sort of fantasy of going off and living out where, you know, people need help, and helping to bring water or shelter, or, you know, help people in need that way, which sounds very vague and what's the word? Virtue signaling, is that a thing? Virtuous. When I see people in need, it hurts me. But then, you know, I think that if that were something I was going to actually go do, maybe I would have by now. I don't know. I have fear. I have fear of not having the strongest constitution and getting sick or injured. So I feel like it's actually something I'd like to work on, finding ways to better serve the community in meaningful ways, rather than overestimating what I'm able to do and not ending up doing any of it. So in small steps, this organization that I partnered with for the Rise campaign, which was the t-shirt campaign I just did, the new one for breast cancer. Equal Hope in Chicago provides access to screenings and healthcare and helps people work with their insurance. And if they don't have insurance, finds them places that will treat them without it. And it was founded by a man who realized that the community was so underserved that, for example, one of their statistics is that African-American women in his community had a 7 times higher chance of dying from breast cancer than white women. And he in less than 10 years, brought that number down 35%. So it is year by year increasing, and there was no other reason other than access to care. And he is fixing it. And that is just one of the many reasons that I love this organization. So I wish it wasn't so far away, but I am doing what I can with them, and they're amazing. So in the meantime, I am just trying to bring awareness. But you know, I have all kinds of dreams. I want to learn to speak Italian. I'd love to go live in a village in France. You know, we all have these pipe dreams, and I think that, you know, I wish that we all could be a little better at realizing them. And when I see people who do, I envy their bravery, because I'm not as brave as maybe I'd like to be. Is my house still haunted? Yes, it is. George the ghost lives in the closet right outside that door. That door. There's a closet right outside, and he lives in there. And he does not like that closet door to be shut. So I close it. It's the linen closet. And when I walk by it, it opens. It pops open every time. Not when anyone else walks by it, just me. But he's not mean. I think he just wants to be our friend. I don't see him anymore. It's just the closet. I used to see him. And so did my husband, by the way. If anyone hasn't heard this story, it was right when we moved in, and I was just having had a baby and going through chemotherapy and delirious and tired. And I would keep thinking I would see this man out of the corner of my eye, but I didn't pay any attention to it. The weird thing was, whenever my son he had like this walking thing, you know, you put them in it when they're like 1 year old, and they walk around in it like with wheels. And this one had like, it was shaped like a race car, and it had a horn and some music. And every time we would stash the thing in the corner, this corner, it would turn itself on, like for no reason, or the music would turn itself on. And I was like, okay. And then one day, my neighbor upstairs asked me, I said to her, you know, I think we have a ghost. And my husband looks at me and he goes, "You've seen him too?" And so I saged the house, and we just made friends, and he's still here. Let's see. What have you been watching lately, and who's your favorite actress? From Jessica Rabbit. I just finished binge watching The Man in the High Tower. And if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. The acting, and it's so scary and so heartbreaking, but the characters and the casting and the acting and the writing and all of it is amazing. And just the outfits and the set design and all that stuff is gorgeous, and it's really, really good. And you know what I've been thinking a lot about? There was a short series called The Haunting of Hill House, which was one of the scariest damn things I've ever seen in my life. But if you haven't seen it, don't miss it. It's from like a year or two ago, but oh my God. And of course, Lovecraft. If you haven't seen Lovecraft and you have the opportunity, do not pause. Go right now. It's jaw-dropping. Every week we're like, I think when it's over, the last episode is this Sunday, and I think we're going to just start it over again. We loved it so much. Did you ever get a chance to, Nikita asks, did you ever get a chance to meet the actress that played younger teenage Mary? If you mean Amy Gumanek, of course. I know her well, and she is amazing. And what was interesting to me, the first time I met her, I'd already seen her playing Mary, and I remember thinking, wow, I mean, we don't look exactly like, we look similar, and they made us look similar, but she's I thought, wow, they seem to really get someone with a similar essence to me, where we seem a lot alike. And when I met her, we're not that alike. She is a delight. I adore her. But she is that talented. She watched some of my episodes and kind of just imitated how I was, which I don't think is easy to do, to copy another person. And she just nailed it. She's really talented. She was on another show I binged called Turn. If you want another show to binge, Turn is about the spies during the Revolutionary War, and it's fantastic. Jamie Bell is the lead guy. She has Amy has a recurring part as sort of a prostitute of some sort, and she is just she hits it out of the park. Philomena, I think, was her character's name. She was great. I highly recommend that as well. So what else? Are there other stuff? Is there? Let me see. I think I'm caught up. Let me go through here. Somebody's going to watch Lovecraft. Excellent. If Mary could have spoken to the boys in the finale, what would you have liked her to say? Well, I think that really depends. Like, is she speaking from the afterlife? I don't think it matters. I think, that last episode, they wrote it so that Mary could really tell everyone how much they meant to her and how proud she was of them. And I think that of all the things a parent could tell their child, above even how much they love them, is how proud they are. And I would reiterate, I think Mary would have wanted to reiterate that. And that the people they had become was everything she could ever have hoped. But I think that they, luckily, from what they filmed sort of as flashbacks, they knew, I hope, because they had a rough road, those two. So I think that's it. I think I've run out of questions and answers. Or any last minute? So they said, okay, I think that's why I was thinking of The Haunting of Hill House, because I saw that the Bly House ads, and I was like, is this an English Haunting of Hill House? But I think The Haunting of Hill House, this is going to sound ridiculous, but I thought it was based on a true story. That's probably not true. On that note, well, listen, I played at Winchester for 15 years. I believe in ghosts. What can I say? And I have George, who's obviously real. Thank you for being here. I wish I could have seen all your faces. Thank you for your questions. I adore you all. And hopefully I will see you again soon.
Sam, thank you so much for being here today. We hope to see you in person soon, but thank you for being with us virtually. You are beloved, and we are sending you all of our love and support. Okay, guys, tipping is now done, and we'll bring you the results in just a few moments. But first, make sure you're signed up on our email list through our website, creationent.com. And also follow us on social media at CreationENT on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for announcements on more virtual content to come. And trust me, we've got some announcements coming for you. Okay, and our winner is X Miami Gal. X Miami Gal, you are our winner. And we're going to contact you via email right now, so check your inbox. But just in case we have any issues, please hang out in this chat until you get the link. Sam's one-on-ones are coming up. And by the way, you guys, if you were not with us for David's panel earlier, I do want to report that he was not wearing pants. Okay, next week we're back with Gil McKinney and Elena Huffman. We'll see you guys then.